1, 8.
Item 1B, Pledge of Allegiance.
Would Bianca Cantillo Elementary School lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance? Isn't she adorable?
Yay, Bianca.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Bianca. What grade are you in, Bianca? Fourth grade. Thank you so much.
Item 1D, roll call. Ms. Barnes,
Present.
Ms. Borrego,
Ms. Borrego is out of town for, they were presenting at a conference, and she wanted me to express how truly sorry she was not going to be able to make it to this board meeting. She promises she'll be here for the next regular board meeting.
Ms. Mendoza,
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
Mr. Cimenta,
Here.
Mrs. Stroud,
Ms. Trout will not be joining us this evening. She called in and said she wouldn't be joining us this evening.
and Mrs. Zuniga.
Here.
Item 1E, CISD Vision and Mission Statements.
Would Ms. Barnes and Ms. Zuniga, our vision and mission statements?
Our mission is, we provide equitable opportunities to ensure our future-ready students are empowered to explore, learn, grow, and excel.
Vision,
Lead today, impact tomorrow.
short and concise and meaningful. Thank you, ladies.
Item number 2, Board Honors.
Madam President, before we go on, I'd like to do a moment of silence for our fellow Americans in Maine. We went to that mass shooting that killed 18 Americans. I think it's important that we keep time, send our prayers.
We will just pause for a moment of silence.
Item 2A, recognition of Cantillo High School cross-country team member Nerea Escobedo for qualifying to the regional cross-country meet in Lubbock.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here today to celebrate some of the great work that is being done here in Cantillo ISD, the best small school district in Texas and El Paso's only AAA rated school district. Board President Mendoza, members of the board, and Dr. Galaviz, could you please join us in front of the dais to begin this month's board honors? We begin tonight's presentation by recognizing one of the best cross-country runners in the region. And she's from right here in Cantillo. Cantillo High School student standout Nerea Escobedo was among the few El Paso runners to qualify for the regional meet in Lubbock after an outstanding season at 3 districts and district. In fact, she was the only runner from Cantillo to make it this far. And she's only a sophomore, so there's a great future here in Canapillo. Her accomplishment didn't go unnoticed by her supportive team, who continued to practice with her at 6 in the morning in preparation for the state playoffs, running alongside with her. That's teamwork. Please help me welcome regional cross-country qualifier Nevea Escobedo and her coaches, Cesar Morales and V. Ruiz. Of course, we have the Castillo High School Eagle as well. Yeah.
Join us. You can take your ID off. I know who you are.
Congratulations, Nevea, and good luck next season. We're going to stay, Coach says.
How about mom and dad?
Mom and dad are here?
They are out of town. Your family?
Yeah,
Coming up. Oh, bring some flowers, yeah.
Everybody. The sister. It's okay.
One more. Come
Oh,
on,
come
Grandma.
on, Grandma's
come on,
moving
Grandma.
down. Thank you, Miss Melinda.
From one grandma to another.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Can you get us timing a little bit higher?
It's a good thing we're thin.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
We expect to have you here next season with state championship, all right? We next recognize 4 CHS students whose interest in public service has landed them in one of the most prestigious advisory councils in the region. Michelle DeMoss, David Gonzalez, Tobias Palmer, and Angel Rodriguez will all take part in this year's Texas 16th Congressional District's Congressional Youth Advisory Council, organized by Congresswoman Veronica Escobar. The students will work alongside Escobar and her staff to learn about the federal government, debate policy, and provide input on proposed legislation and issues. The role is to bring the voice of young people to the table. Canapillo will have a special advantage in having its voice heard. Of the 20 spots available for students throughout the region, 4 went to CHS students, the most of any high school in El Paso. We can't wait to see what great difference these young leaders will make. Please help me welcome CHS students Michelle DeMoss, David Gonzalez, Tobias Palmer, and Angel Rodriguez.
We should have the eagle here all the time. Yeah, that's it, These tall boys. They're taller than us. 2 steps and heels. They're coming.
Hi, David. There you go, Michelle.
Thank you guys. Maybe we'll have our second Canudillo Congress person in this bunch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lastly tonight, we recognize one of the brightest students at Canudillo High School, who at her young age is already presenting research and scientific work in front of world-renowned experts. Senior April Reese presented her biomedical research at the annual meeting of the Biomedical Engineering Society in Seattle, Washington earlier this month. The meeting hosted top researchers, field experts, and student researchers from throughout the country. Reese's research, which she had worked on along with CHS teacher Ernesto Villanueva, focused on nuclear deformation of inkjet bioprinted human dermal fibroblasts. I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty impressive. Pretty intense stuff for a high school senior, but nothing new for April, who spent the last summer doing research at UTEP for a biomedical professor. Reese was one of the handful of high school students invited to present in Seattle and the only one from El Paso to earn a spot. Please help me welcome CHS senior April Reese.
Miss April. We'll put you on the spot. What is she research? Because I didn't polymer research.
Nuclear deformation of inkjet bioprinted human dermal fibroblasts.
Wait, one more time.
Nuclear deformation of inkjet bioprinted human dermal
Sounds like
fibroblasts.
a Halloween costume. I want you to, because first of all, a Latina, and then coming from El Paso, and researching biomedical, because I know there's not a lot of Mexicanos where you went. There's not a lot of Mexicanos that do research. So I want you to say it in my terms so Galavis can understand what is that that you do.
Okay, so previous research has shown that when we take human skin cells and put them through a bioprinter.
I can't hear you.
So previous research has shown that when we take human skin cells and put them through a bioprinter, the force and stress on the cells can help them reprogram into a different type of cells called stem cells, which have a great use in the medical field. And so my research was understanding what happens to the cell's nucleus when it goes through the printer.
So why do it? What's going to be advantageous for this research?
So a lot of research has been done on reprogramming, but it would be more beneficial to understand why it's occurring, and understanding what happens to the nucleus can help scientists figure out why it's occurring so that they can perfect the process and use it to create more stem cells to create new projects in the medical field.
You just gave me like the goosebumps because that was perfect. That was perfect. Keep going.
I believe Mom is here.
Come on up, Mom.
Project based at the high school.
Awesome.
Yes, awesome.
Members of the board and Dr. Galaviz, there's a lot of great stuff happening throughout Canudillo ISD. This is just a small sampling. This concludes this month's board honor.
What was that big word again?
Thank you, Gustavo. It's certainly a great day to be in Quito. These kids make all of us so proud, and you know, we work very hard to make sure that they have everything they need to succeed in life. And this is one small sampling of the quality of the students that we have. Thank you, Ms. Marujo, and thank you to the Eagle. Ms. Carrillo would love to have you here every week, but I know that's not possible. Next item.
Item number 3, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard, in accordance with District Policy BED Local. Each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. The board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For further information on those policies, please contact the superintendent's administrative assistant. We have 2 participants for tonight. The first one is going to be Mr. Ryan Romero in regards to having excusing absences on September 28, 2023 and September 29, 2023.
Mr. Romero, welcome.
Alright, so I started. Good. I'm Ryan Romero. I'm a student at Canopio High School. It's nice to meet you all. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into it. September 28th, September 29th, if you do not know, that was the end of the week where we had all those fights at our school. Not great. So I'm here to get those absences excused. I was put out of school on the 28th and did not go to school on the 29th. That was not my choice, that was my mom's choice. I'm not gonna argue with mom. So that whole week we were failed by our administration. We were students, us were left in the dark. Teachers were left in the dark, our parents were left in the dark. I found out about what was going on from other students. Well, I mean, I saw the fights, but I mean, I know what was behind the fights from other students. There was no communication. There wasn't any communication between administration and students. I do want to thank Ms. Marufo, because in the past 2 weeks she has done a much better job than the previous 9 weeks. I think it's a shame it took 9 weeks for us to get to this point, but oh well. I did not like how it was handled. I think it was very, like, she was just shrugging it off. But these threats weren't, it wasn't just some freshman pulling a prank to get a day off of school. These weren't unfounded. We knew that these fights were happening. We knew the reason behind these fights. And this is America, okay? Stuff happens at schools that we don't like. And I don't think that it was completely ridiculous or, we were treated like fools for leaving. And that's not true. They weren't unfounded threats. This is America. Like I said, we saw these fights firsthand. We did, teachers saw it, everybody saw it. Unless you're living under a rock, you saw the fights. So that's why I'm asking you guys, just put the thought in your head of excusing those absences on those days. Because I do think 400 students were absent on Friday due to the failure of administration to address these things properly. And it's a shame. There was a time where I'd say I'm from Canopio High School and I'd be proud of it. Now I say it, people looking at okay. Like it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment now. And that's my thoughts on that. And I think those applicants should be excused for those reasons. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Holman.
Next person is the lady Ms. Valentina Carrillo in regards to Family and Consumer Sciences Education and Family and Career and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA.
Welcome, Ms. Carrillo.
Good evening, esteemed Board of Trustees and Dr. Galaviz. My name is Valentina Carrillo, and I am the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, Region 1 Vice President of Projects, and a sophomore at Gamaliel High School. Family and Consumer Sciences is a field of study focused on the science and art of living and working well in our complex world. Through extensive research, experiential education, and technology, our professionals help people develop the essential knowledge and skills to lead better lives, build strong families, be ready for work and a career, and to make meaningful contributions to their communities. Our primary areas of focus include education and training, health management and wellness, and personal and family finance. FCCLA is a student-led organization with leadership development as a primary focus. The skills gained, connections formed, and opportunities experienced through serving in FCCLA will elevate students as they take the lead in families, careers, and communities of today and tomorrow. The ties Family and Consumer Sciences has to FCCLA can be seen through our competitive events exercising students' skills in the primary areas of focus. Aspiring educators have the opportunity to make a transformative impact on people's lives, empowering individuals to thrive in their personal and professional spheres. For example, individuals considering a career as an FCS educator are encouraged to explore the Say Yes to FCS Education Star event. This event recognizes participants demonstrating their knowledge and skills needed to explore this enriching career path. FCCLA has made a concentrated effort to illustrate the connection of FCCLA and FCS to career pathways and hosted a focus group to assist in this process. FCCLA national programs and competitive events support CTE students' development of knowledge and skills. FCCLA is integrated into FCS and is intercurricular, exposing students to work-based learning and business and industry networks. Through participation in FCCLA and exploration of FCCLA's 4 career pathways, members acquire many skills to be college and career ready, including academic knowledge, technical expertise, and a set of general cross-cutting abilities called employability skills. The 4 career pathways include hospitality and tourism, human services, visual arts and design, and education and training. In addition, through FCS education, FCCLA members learn real-world skills that are transferable to any career pathway they choose, like critical thinking, information use, communication skills, and interpersonal skills. I thank Gamaliel ISD and our Board of Trustees for their support to ensure our students are prepared for their future and to nurture the future of others. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Carrillo.
Item number 4, Board of Trustees Business. 4A, Lone Star Governance Goals 1 and 2, presented by Ms. Jessica Arellano and Ms. Laura Shen.
Good evening, ladies.
Good evening. I will start with introducing myself. I'm Laura Chink. I'm the Elementary Curriculum Coordinator. Hopefully you can hear me, yes? Thank you. And Ms. Arellano will be
So I am covering our early childhood coordinator, Sandra Carrillo, is out ill unexpectedly. So she was going to share this presentation with Ms. Shank. However, any questions or any concerns you might have, I'll make sure to write them down if I can't answer them for her, and make sure you get that in a board packet or however that may be.
We're gonna start with early childhood literacy. We're gonna look at by station scores, how we did at the end of last year. We finished with in Tier 1 kindergarten with 46%, Tier 2 24, and Tier 3 30%. We are approaching our goal number 1. First grade, we have a 48% on Tier 1, 21% on Tier 2, and 31% on Tier 3. For second grade, we Tier 1 students perform at 55%, Tier 2 was 22%, and 24% for Tier 3. For the lectura summary report, we have a percentage of 29% on Tier 1. Then Tier 3, we have a 33% and 39% for Tier 3. For first grade, we have a 49 approaching goal number 1. And then we have 19% Tier 2 and 32% on Tier 3. Second grade, for Tier 1, they have a 46 on Tier 1, 17 Tier 2, and 37 Tier 3. This is this current year, the last report in September for the I-Station. Students are right now in Tier 1 at kindergarten at 29%. Then we have Tier 2 at 33 and Tier 3 at 39. First grade is approaching at 49%, and Tier 2 is 19, and Tier 3 is 32. Second grade, we have a 46% on Tier 1, 17% on Tier 2, and 37% at Tier 3. For lectura on this current year, we have in September for 34% on Tier 1, this is kindergarten, 20% on Tier 2, and 46 Tier 3. For first grade, they completed with a 31% on Tier 1, 22 on Tier 2, and 47 on Tier 3. For second grade, we have a 43% on Tier 1, 13 on Tier 2, and 45 at Tier 3. Now we're moving into early childhood mathematics scores. Last year we had Imagine Math as our district math program. This program was funded by a grant, the MIZ grant. This year the district purchased different, and you're going to see the difference in between the two programs. Last year, at the end of the school year, kindergarten approached goal 2 at 38%. Students met goal in first grade at 51%, an increase of 11%. And students in second grade met the goal 2 at 60%, an increase of 11%. This year we implemented our BOY, STEM Scope BOY. This was at the end of September. The results are kindergarten did an 85% on the beginning of the year assessment of increase of 37%. First grade had a 62%, an increase of 14%, and second grade scored 56%, which is mathematics. These are scores from last year's STAR test scores. We have goal number 2. Third grade students met this goal at 77%, an increase of 23 points as a district. And then we have this year we implementing common assessments. At the end of the 9 weeks common assessments, we collect the data. The students, overall third graders, had an 82% passing, which is a 43% increase. And this is in English. In Spanish, 9 common assessments had a 93% passing, which is a 37% increase. We'll move to reading, elementary literacy, third grade level. These are the third grade STAR district reading assessment scores. Students at third grade in reading had an 81% passing, which had an increase of 23%. That's meeting the goal. Then we have our iStation report. This is what we use at the beginning of third grade to measure students' reading skills. We have the NICEP reading summary report at the end of September at 6% on tier 1, which meets goal 1. Then we have a tier 2 at 70% and tier 3 at 27%. This is English. In Spanish, we have an approaching score of 48%, 50% of tier 2, and tier 3 is 37%. For reading interventions, these are the programs and strategies that we're using to help students be successful in reading. We have Texas Reading Academy. This is the course that teachers need to take and complete. We have already a majority of K through third grade teachers already completed this course. And new teachers are in the process of going through the modules of this course. Then we have refined practice of guided reading and small groups intervention instruction. Then we have the early. This is something that we added this year to Renaissance, is the Start Early Literacy Assessment. Then we have the CLI Engage platform, which is for intervention, resources, and professional development. We also have in place for third grade to fifth grade the Amplify M-Class intervention for tutors and teachers. We also have the iStation monthly assessment, the ISEP, and instructions here enable for prioritize students' instructions. Every month when we send this report to the teachers, they come with intervention suggestions. Implementation of the Wilson Foundation. This is a reading foundation program for all the kinder through second grade students. And it's based on phonemic It's based on phonemic awareness, phonics, and vocabulary. And then we have the implementation of learning dynamics programs for pre-K and first grade students. Early literacy make and take sessions offered to parents and families focus on bridges, the home to school connection. And then we have the Strong First Teach, which is our district PLC, focus on evaluating benchmarks. And the International Planning of Centers activity, which are focused on and targeting foundational skills. The next slide is the math interventions that we have in our district. We have Strong First Teach district PLCs. Then we have math academics, grade second math, kinder math intervention. This is the root project And then we have math, grade 1 math, early intervention, which is the precision math. And then we have ZERN, math intervention, and this is kinder through 5th grade. And we also have the CLI Engaged platform for intervention, resources, professional development. And then we have our high impact tutoring. This is our new grant for 21st century grant, which is based on after school tutoring. We're providing after school tutoring and engage in resources and engagement for students after school.
Yeah, and the after school, I think we talked a little bit about the 21st Century Grant. They hire their own tutors for Amplify and ZERN. The site coordinators work closely with the campus in identifying the students that need additional help. And the intent of the after school program is to enrich and intervene in a different way than it happens in the classroom. So it's learning actively, and students are having fun doing it in a different way. And so that's the 21st Century Grant that we've implemented this year. I don't know if you have any questions or response.
So my first question, I'll just kind of piggyback on that grant that you were talking about. It's after school tutoring, and those are outside tutors, you said, correct?
Some are outside tutors, and then we pay teachers
Okay.
as well, so we do both.
So if they are outside tutors, or it's not their classroom teacher who's doing that, are the classroom teachers giving feedback in regard to what that child needs, what they're struggling in, things of that sort?
That's correct. The site coordinator is stationed at that campus all day long. So they're not only there after school, during the day they work closely with the teachers on the students that they have, looking at the data. They have access to Euphoria, they have access to Teams, and they're able to monitor their learning.
And they have access to the other, as you said, ZERN and some of those things that they're doing.
Yeah, they use high quality instructional material, which is Amplify and ZERN.
Right.
We have in our department, we have trained all the site coordinators, and we're training the tutors as well. They have access to these programs, and we have created already the sessions where they're gonna be pulling all the materials from this program.
Perfect. The reason I was asking that, I just want to make sure, since they're outside tutors, that we're not giving our teachers additional work that they have to then prepare for them to do. Or I've seen before where students end up having to be assessed not only by their teachers but also by their tutors to see what they do, and they get frustrated. So I love that that's cohesive for the student. My second one has to do with math. You said that the iStation monthly assessments will also include interventions that can be done for what they need. Is that what we then hand down to the tutors for those interventions, or are those the interventions that they're doing during the Amplified tutoring?
Yes, ma'am. What we have for intervention is for the reading. iStation is reading, and what we have is the lower grades. The tutors are using iStation reports. They have been added, and they use the intervention tools that they're provided. So when you go to the diagnostics, they show you exactly where the tier that the student is, and all the interventions and all the lessons that you need to work with the student. So I've been helping them to learn how to navigate the platform and how to find the intervention lessons to be specific on that tier.
Yes, because iStation does have a lot to offer, but like you said, it's learning how to navigate it and where to plug it in. So thank you for helping our teachers with that. My last question had to do with, I know we have the end of last year and then the beginning of this year, and those are hard to compare, right? Because we have a whole year compared to the very beginning. Do you find that where our kids were at the end of the year on iStation or on our math program, that's cohesive to where they scored on the STAR, so that we know that we're comparing the data correctly and able to base our goals off of that?
Yes. Then the math, Imagine Math, is cohesive to our STAR report. While the iStation, you still see where we did better than actually the iStation.
Okay.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ms. Wines. Anyone else? I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the average, the kindergarten classes are how many? How many students in a class?
That's a very good question, but I know the campuses they have about from 3 to 5 kindergarten teachers, and every class roughly is about 20 to 23 students as the average students enrolled in kindergarten. So if I do the math, which I need a calculator, but I can have the number for you later. Yes, that's around that number of students we have in kinder. I wish I could have the number,
within
but
the staffing
yes,
guidelines.
yes.
And this 21st century grant, I know that we applied and we got it and we're so excited. Do you foresee us making significant gains because of the approach that we're taking, regarding, hiring the outside tutors and approaching it and to the student differently than we would have originally? And if so, how many students are we serving just in this 21st century grant?
So we just started the program the second or third week of September. And so as we increase our staffing for the after-school program, we can definitely increase the numbers, because you do want to have a manageable ratio of adult to student after school. So the schools are averaging right now maybe about 18 to 20 students, but our goal is a lot higher than that. And so we've been trying to hire what we call activity leaders, our academic tutors, getting those teachers on board so that we can expand. The goal that we submitted to TEA for the grant varies at each campus, anywhere from 70 to 120, depending on the campus size. So that's the goal. So as we staff, we can allow more students to enroll.
I'm really excited about
Yeah,
this
we are
program, and I know that it'll make a significant change.
And the director, Ms. Corrales, and the family engagement specialist, Brian, have a lot of experience from the other districts. So they are really working hard to increase those. And I think what's making even more of an impact, Ms. Mendoza, is the family and community engagement component. Because it's not just about getting them there after school for the intervention and enrichment, but it's also embracing the families to come. They had last week they had a lights on activity, and they invited all the families from all over the district. The students presented with the type of learning that they were doing, which looks very different. Project-based learning, art, science, math, social studies, and so the families were able to see what the students are doing after school. So it was exciting. They're happy.
I echo that, and I'd like to see maybe an end of the year report,
Okay.
specifically on the 21st century grant.
Yes, ma'am. We are required to report that to the state, so we'll make sure you get a copy as well.
That's wonderful. Anyone else?
Actually, we don't have one. We have one.
To talk a little bit about the 21st century grant, I know you said right now we're of course servicing less kids because we're waiting on more staffing for that. Are we focusing more on our approaches kids to get them up to the meets level, or more of our do not meets to get them to approaches, or do we have a specific?
I don't think there's really a specific. We want everyone, we'll follow the same LSG goal that we have, which is meets. I don't think we deviate from that at all. I think the impact that we're gonna see is in January, we're required to do high impact tutoring. So the ratio is gonna have to be 4 to 1. So in January, that's a requirement from the program itself. So we really will start hitting the students that need the high impact tutoring then.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And my second question, Dr. G, one of the things that we talked about in Lone Star Governance was hearing your input about our goal, where you feel we are and what our trajectory is going forward based off of it.
Whatever these ladies said, that's where we are.
Okay. But we're supposed to hear from you what you think. Do you think that we're heading in the right direction?
Yes, we are.
All right. Thank you.
Great question, I knew that was coming up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was enlightening.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 4, the discussion regarding important dates for trustees.
Dr. Fernandez.
Yeah, I think, I was talking to Mr. Adrian, and given, I wanna just, cause we've been switching board dates and, I wanna make sure that, and I know we have a level 3, discipline hearing coming up. Just wanna put that on your radar, what do you all say? I think, Adrian, did we pull the board yet on the,
No, not yet.
so we're looking at next week? So, oh, I'm sorry, I have hard copies, because I see better in hard copies. And then I'll get with Miss Borrego to talk. I know our regular board meeting, you remember, is the 14th, correct? And December is the 12th. And you know, I've scheduled individual meetings with each one of you to talk about the future projects.
Next week, right?
Yeah, next week. So what's good for you for the level 3 discipline hearing?
Or
You wanna do it next week, or?
Adrian, is there a timeline on that?
We don't have a specific timeline. What policy states is that we are gonna notify them when their hearing will occur, so they have time to prepare. Right now, we're contemplating to do it around the 8th or the 9th of November if possible.
The 8th or the 9th?
any objection?
No, just.
5:30, 5, 6?
Anything after 4:30?
The 8th?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll check with, Mr. Rodriguez is out. 8th. And then another thing, board, we're looking at, is that December 6th, Gustavo? We have a bond workshop.
Yes,
Oscar? Right.
yes, no, we will.
December 6th.
For what?
We talked bond
January.
workshop. After we talk to you all next week. Collect the
Yeah,
data.
I think you got, maybe the 6th.
January 10th.
January 10th? Move it to the 10th? No, we're gonna talk January 6th, December 6th.
December 6th.
And then have one January 10th, once we have a committee. Because we're gonna ask. Right? January 10th will be the board and a committee. Yeah, we'll be receiving some marching orders this week.
This is for, on the 10th, on January 10th is for bond.
Yes, bond.
And-
The committee. Board will hear. Because I want to collect your thoughts individually next week. Present them on December 6th. So on January 10th, we can have a committee before break. 5:30, okay? Because by February 16th, if the board does decide to go with bond,
That's our deadline.
that's your deadline, February 16th. So we'll look at probably call a special board meeting on February 13th. So to recap, November 14th is a regular board meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. November 8th is the discipline hearing. November 14th is a regular board meeting. December 6th will be a special bond workshop. January 10th will be a board and committee workshop.
Saying December 10th.
Until
Oh, no, January
10th.
10th. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's that, who's on first?
Yeah.
And February 13th, a special board meeting. The board decides that, we get to do that by February 16th. And then the December board meeting, I'm sorry, I missed that one, is December 12th.
And if I may, I saw that the January, at least according to my notes, the January regular board meeting was changed from the 30th, is that correct?
Yes, it'll be the 23rd.
Okay. Was there a reason for that change? Just curious.
Well, I think we've always done the fourth Tuesday of every month.
Perfect.
That was my error.
That's like, you're human. You're allowed.
You are?
And Adrian, for your information, I'll be out of town the 25th through the 29th.
December?
January. It's the first.
Can I go with you?
Yes.
Get that, Adrian?
Yes, sir.
So we'll type it up and put it in the board packet. And we'll check with Ms. Bonago and Mr. Rodriguez. I see 4 of you. Thank you.
Item number 5, public hearing. 5A, a public hearing will be held regarding the Cantillo ISD's financial integrity rating system of Texas. First, the public is invited to attend and provide public comment.
Welcome, Ms. Billy.
Hello,
It's
good
great
evening.
to see you.
Good to see you all. Mr. Mendoza, board members, Dr. Galaviz. We are holding our first rating hearing. This is based on information of the fiscal year 22. And first, it stands for Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. So the primary goal of the first is one, to achieve quality performance in the management of the school district's financial resources. And this is significant due to the complexity of the Texas school finance system. This was authorized by the 76th legislation in 1999, and the ratings that are issued are always a year behind. Our fiscal year 23 first rating is based on fiscal year 22 data. It's based on student information as well as budget and financial information. Why this is relevant is not only does it measure our financial health of the school district, but it also has an impact on accreditation for the entire school district. The determination of the ratings, the preliminary ratings were received on August 7th. They become official 30 days later if we do not ask for an appeal, which we did not, so they have become official on September 7th. There is several indicators, these are pass or fail critical indicators. If you fail one of these, you fail the entire first. There are 20 indicators, 4 which are critical, 10 that evaluate our solvency as a district, and then 6 that evaluate our financial competence indicators. The ratings are based on an A through F scale. They are awarded by points, and much like academics, A is superior is 90 to 100, B is 80 to 89, and meeting standards is a C. 70 to 79, and of substandard achievement is an F. That's anything that's less than 70 points, or if you fail one of the critical indicators. You have the presentation, so I'm not going to go through all of the indicators, but I will bring attention to the ones where we did not max out on the points. So the one indicator, the first indicator is number 7, I believe, which is our solvency indicator. And this is, the question on this indicator is, was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures, excluding facility acquisition and construction? We had 87 days in reserves in cash according to, in comparison to our expenditures. So we received 8 points. The max on this is 10 points. We would have needed to have 90 days cash reserves in order to get the maximum points. The other indicator which we did not receive the maximum points was number 13, which was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold. Our threshold should be about 10% in order to receive maximum points. We received 8 points for this indicator. Our ratio was 11.01%. This is an indicator that we work very diligently at. It's very difficult in a district our size to manage this particular indicator because we have our administration wears many hats as it is. However, this is not just personnel, but this is several expenses. For example, this year we had insurance, which doubled. This is coded to this particular administrative cost ratio. So there's several other factors that affect it. It's not just necessarily personnel. But as a result, and also, we have a little bit more information in the presentation regarding our administrative cost ratio, how we compare to other school districts in Region 19, as well as other districts our size. So we fall right about in the middle in the area. And also, when compared to other districts of comparable ADA size, we are also right in the middle of those as well. And if I can bring your attention to the final results, because we did receive the maximum points on all the other 18 indicators, which will be your last page, almost, which we received an overall score of a 96, which is a superior achievement. And we have received this, we also have a comparison of the last 10 years, and we have received a superior achievement over the past 5 years. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions and further any public comment.
Anyone from the public like to ask a question? Ms. Reyes? Ms. Woolley,
I have several questions.
I have a comment. The ones that we didn't receive at 10 points, we knew we weren't going to.
Correct.
I mean, was it number 8 that we had to have so many days of operating funds?
Correct.
And we knew that was coming.
Yes.
And then the administrative ratio is also not a big surprise.
Right. We have been inching down on that ratio. I believe it used to be at about 12%, and every year we do bring it down slightly.
So last year was 12%?
So we had, in the last 2 years, we actually had a different strategy that we applied. We had ESSER funding. So we moved some of those costs into ESSER because they were leading the charge on the learning loss. So we were able to shift that over, which helped us with our ratio in those. If you can recall, I believe it was 2 years ago where we got a perfect score. We actually had a 100 on our first rating.
Anyone? It's fine.
So on the indicators that were not being evaluated, what is the reason for that?
There's different items, whether it's, I believe one of the ones. Let's see.
I know number 10 is one.
So this one was, it's difficult for them to rate this one because of the changes in, the budgets. So there was a lot of uncertainty. So this would not be fair for districts when we're receiving information, prior to PEAM's submission. So we're receiving updated information in March, and PEAM's is based on, snapshot on October numbers, so it would be very difficult for them to evaluate us or to be fair to the districts, in evaluating us, how closely we got to our budget.
So are all the districts then not evaluated on these same?
Correct, it's
Okay.
across the whole, all
And
the
we
entire state.
still receive those full points for those even though it's not evaluated? Okay. And then, to follow up on that, number 15 and 19 is the highest for the 5 that's there?
Yes.
Okay. At first I saw the 5 and went, oh no, that's low. And then when I was counting it up, I was like, I think they're supposed to be nice. And then I guess my next question has to do with just kind of as piggybacking on what Ms. Patsy said. We could see where we were going to fall in some of these, and based on reading some of these, I'm a little concerned about next year's snapshot or first report. Am I correct in that, like the 87 days and?
Right, so, I don't foresee it affecting us in next year's rating as much as the following year.
Okay.
Because we're 1 year behind.
This year we can
This,
Right, so for fiscal year 24, which will be our for this current fiscal year, fiscal 24, which will be our 25 ratings, I believe we will still probably close to superior. If not, it'll be a high B. However, the following year is the area of concern, which I did bring up during, the budget presentation, that could be, some significant changes there. You're welcome.
Anyone else? I would like to thank you, Ms. Kelly and Ms. McCarthy, for the job that you've done to keep us afloat and to keep us informed of the pitfalls that we fall into due to budget constraints, and I just want to acknowledge publicly that we appreciate all your hard work.
It's a group effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Item number 5B, approval of the Cantillo CISD Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas first. Do we need to pull the board?
I motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Lee, seconds.
Mrs. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes, and thank you.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
And Ms. Zuniga?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 6, consent agenda.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a,
Motion to approve.
do I have a second? Second.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Cimental?
Yes.
Mrs. Zuniga?
Yes.
Motion passes. And that leads us to item.
I would like the record to reflect that Mr. Rodriguez has stepped away from his area. He left at and that's why he's not voting. He left approximately an hour, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes. 45 minutes ago.
Also, like to acknowledge our student advisor, Gustavo Ayala's here. His parents had something at Northwest Valley College, so that's why she's not here.
So that takes us to the magical hour.
Happy Halloween.
Meeting adjourned. Item number 7, meeting adjournment. Time is 7:06.
Just adjourning the meeting, Adrian.
He wants to leave.
Thank you, Lord. Happy Halloween.